Mary Lou, would you like to lend us your voice?
Sure. How will the mind become quiescent? By the inquiry, who am I? The thought, who am I, will destroy all other thoughts. And like the stick used for stirring the burning pyre, it will itself, in the end, get destroyed. Then there will arise self-realization.
Thank you, Mary. The stick used in the burning pyre will get consumed. We all need to get consumed for the Lord, for the entity, for the reality, because He created me with an intellect to be His emissary. If I could be the extension of the entity that I am seeking, then I merge with it because I need to think that I have a responsibility to cater to, just as He caters to my needs. He gives me everything. Even when I'm born and I'm left by a dumpster, for whatever good or bad reasons, a mother cannot have me with her, and I'm left alone. And we have stories of many, many saints also, whom we don't know where they came from. Kabir, there's a story that he was found by the riverbed. And there are stories like that in the Bible. But they all survive, right? I have to become that extends one's life for others. That's my duty. I have to burn myself. I have to go out of my way to an extent that I get extinguished. My entity is not important. Vivekananda was once asked, how do I see the self? Some devotee asked him, how do I see the self? And Vivekananda said, whenever you close your eyes and try and define the self, any thoughts that arise as your individual self, you have not seen the self yet. The day you close your eyes and you don't think of yourself and think of others, you've begun to get a glimmer of that self. Shivananda said, when you close your eyes and the first thought that comes to your mind is, whom can I serve? Ranganath Ananda said, I'm sorry, I take that back. Ranganath Ananda, who would eventually become the president of the Ramakrishna Math missions in the world, he was a great scholar and a great spiritualist. He said, whenever you uh, whenever you close your eyes in contemplation, and when you open your eyes and your first thought is not, whom can I serve, then you have not begun your practice. You didn't contemplate. You were thinking about yourself. You were not contemplating. Contemplation is external, beyond me, to that focusing on that reality that I want to merge with. My heart should be grieved when I cannot help others. Then only I become that stick that burns in the pyre. Then there will arise self-realization. The one who shall lose his life for me shall win. I think in Exodus, I forget which book of Bible it is. I think it's in I forget. One who shall lose his life for me shall win. And we don't lose our lives for him. We continue to win our own lives. And that juxtaposition, that flip, you will see, will bring an ocean of remorse, an ocean of udasinta, that 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 sadness in my heart, that how limited I am. And I define myself with this and that glorious kinds of things. And I'm not that because I'm not doing anything for anybody else. That's the shortcut.
Question 15. How long should inquiry be practiced? As long as there are impressions of objects in the mind, so long the inquiry, who am I, is required.
So profound, right? As long as we have the impressions in the mind, the inquiry must continue.
It feels like it's like till the last breath.
Absolutely, absolutely. Contemplation has to continue. But as we continue the contemplation, we will see a diminishing effect of the impressions of other things on our mind. The value of the other things will diminish. That will be our validation, our test, our litmus test, our qualification to know that yes, I'm on the right path. Because the importance of other things, the importance of my loss also is part of that. Importance of my having lost the reputation. Because it's all very important to me. My hurts are very dear to me, and this is what happened to me, and this is how I was treated. All those are attachments, and all that diminished. So what? As if what has happened with me hasn't happened with anybody else. Everybody else carries their own cross. Everybody else has a story to tell. Everybody else has something drastically untoward that happened to them. I'm no different. That's what grows on me, that it's okay. I accept. So the inquiry is required definitely as and the last breath in this lifetime, yes, but at the same time, let's not forget, it may not need to last until the last breath. In some life, it would be before then. I'll be able to reach that point at some point in some life. Because even thinking until the last breath is only a limitation of time in this life. It's a limited definition. Welcome, Helena.
Hello.
Thank you for joining here. Yes, Sandra, go ahead. I'm sorry. Did you raise your hand? Yeah.
Yes, thank you, Bantu. So bodily functions such as feeding yourself, shopping for groceries, etc., are done from a detached standpoint. It's not craving the food or feeling like you need this food. It's just from a detached, I need to do this to keep my body going. And as long as this body is alive, I am able to try to attain enlightenment, work towards what we talk about, work towards knowing the self, as long as this body is warm. So we keep it alive for that reason. Is that?
That is true, yes. And that will continue. That's a function that will continue. Those, Bhagwan has specifically said, you should not think of those as vasanas, because your bodily needs will continue, and you will, by command, you will do those things and you'll get what you're destined to get. So all of us get various degrees of satisfaction from what we can get. And we can get everything that we need or want And that's also part of my destiny. But yes, those things I don't have to worry about. I should be more focused on the grosser definitions of my house, my children, my reputation, my money, my health, not wanting others to get as much as I get. All the yamas and niyamas of Patanjali Yoga Sutra define that. Tattva Bodha defines that. I have to look at the categories of the elements that are obscuring my real tattva, my real nature. The last question, Bhagavan has referred to that. We will come to that in a moment. And as I referred last week in the talks, from the talk number 26 or 27, very, very few places Bhagavan has referred to that. Bhagavan has talked about it. And Bhagavan has said, this is your tattva. Tattva is the truth. Tattva is the ultimate reality. But that is obscured because of the characteristics of your falsified tattvas that are in front of you. And those we don't have to worry about those. We should just look at them and say, yeah, be detached from it. A particular taste, a particular food should not be important to me. And I should be able to share my food before I consume it completely. St. Francis of Assisi used to tell all his friends who had become his devotees, after they would beg for food, at the end of the day, he would say, hold on, before we start eating, let's make sure that we haven't left a single person within our perimeter who has gone without food. We will not start eating unless we have made sure that no one else around us is hungry. We'll share it. Then only they started to consume food. Ramana Maharshi, when he was living up on Virupaksha on the mountain, and people like Echamai would bring food, or I forget his name all the time, the guy who used to bring them milk. Or sometimes when devotees started going to the town and asking for food and had nothing to identify themselves as Brahmana Swami's devotees or Bhagwan's devotees, they hardly used to get any food because the other people from other mathas, other gurus, they had something to identify themselves with. So the householders will give more flour and rice, etc. to them. And so whatever food was brought, Bhagavan has said himself that we would, if we were 8 or 10 people up there and we only got this much of food, we'll add water to it and then all of us will share. Just a swig, that's it. So that is not my attitude. My attitude is to get my own food. How many times have you looked for someone else in a pen station or where you can? Have you looked for anybody? Let's start doing that. It's a small step. And then let's not be proud about that. Let's not go talking about it to other people. Sure, Peter, go ahead.
Leading off from what Sandra was saying about shopping for food or whatever with a sense of detachment, what about having children, having a family?
Children, you said?
Yes. How does one go? How does one go about having a family with a detachment in the same way that one goes about shopping in a grocery store?
Yeah, attitude should be the same. If you can get to that stage, that'll be very nice. But yes, to not compare it to things such as an example you created of grocery shopping. Let's not think like that, but let's think in the terms of, am I too attached to my children's career if they're young and if we are young, or your children are beyond career? Am I too worried about their future? Am I trying to plan? Am I trying to see what kind of spouse they're going to get? Am I trying to do all those things? Am I trying to steer them into the right way? Or if you want to compare with children, think as to how many parents, especially in many, many countries of the world, they so harshly discipline their children. They are the most ignoramus, the most nincompoops of the population of the world who try and punish their children so hard. They lose their heart, they break their soul, and they don't understand that their own prarabdha is absolutely accumulating at such a rapid rate of destruction that this one slap to a child is, I mean, there's no real comparison to it, but to paraphrase it, one slap to a child unnecessarily is one more than one lifetime of prarabdha for me. So we should be detached from anything. One should read Khalil Gibran's poem of children as many times as possible when you try and discipline and carve the career of your children. One should not think of family, so that's why when you walk away, whether you take sannyas or you decide to walk away, children is a big thing. And you have to seek permission of your family. If you're married, you have a spouse and children, you have to seek their permission before you depart.
I was thinking not about controlling children for your egoistic satisfaction. I was thinking just of the motive, the desire to have children itself.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I misunderstood. Yeah, even the desire to have children is the same thing as having desire to have something else. There's no difference. Look at it as a definition of my mind that gives more importance to children, and because it gives me a feeling of my continuation. My vansha, as in Sanskrit you would say, my family's legacy has to continue. It's a
So
big...
that would mean it's wrong to want to have a family.
Sorry?
So that would mean it's wrong.
It's not wrong.
To have a family.
No, there's no wrong or right, but there is an attachment that I must have. Most people want their family to continue, or their family or their children to have a certain path in life. 99% of the people are caught up in that because the ego is actually coming from here. My ego, my definition, therefore the definition of my children, or even wanting to have children. So those who do not have children are more blessed than those who have children. And that's the way to look at it. So if I don't have children, and if I can get beyond that feeling of desire and not feel that, oh, I didn't have children, or I didn't have children, that's a big blessing. But the one who doesn't have a child, a lady who cannot bear children, and if she dies thinking, oh, I was a barren woman, she didn't benefit because she didn't have the clarification to say, I'm so blessed that God chose me not to bear children. That's a just exposition that can be brought, that will come to us if we practice contemplation, that I am not the entity to be worried about. Just as if I'm afflicted with a carcinogenic disease, a pancreatic cancer or glioblastoma or breast cancer, then I should, if I have enough contemplation, then I'll be able to tell myself that, oh, it's only in this life that this body at this particular juncture in this journey of lives got afflicted with this disease. And I don't know how many more diseases I've been afflicted with in the past. That's out of the domain of my memory. That's why I don't think it happened before. If I have that clarity, then the current affliction doesn't affect me as much. It doesn't matter to me. It doesn't matter to me when I lose all my money as much as it would mean to someone else who would get depressed. I narrated the live example of the astrologers talking about that family in New Jersey who lost $8 million in one day when their net worth was $80 million. And they started having, throughout the day, only cereal with milk and started telling, we don't have enough money. They still had $72 million in the bank. But they became poor because they lost $8 million in one day. So that's the nature of the mind. So the one who would have done enough contemplation, he would say, I still have 72 million, I have too much, I should rather be donating money. And I should go and look after homeless people every day and spend at least $8,000 every day, because even if I do that, it'll take me years before I even diminish enough not to have food for myself. So if we can be at that stage, then we are blessed. Is that Anne-Marie sitting behind Venkata? Far away? Oh, very nice. Good to see you, Anne-Marie. So, not having family is a big blessing. Not having money, losing money is a big blessing. Failures are more important than successes. And we have to flip that. Once we flip that, life really becomes a bliss. And still, tribulations, perturbances, anxieties, every now and then will crop up, because my vasanas, my mind, has been with me for such an extended period of time. I don't have a switch to turn it off. So every now and then it is going to show its ugly head. It's going to raise it. But my faith in the reality can help me mitigate that every time it comes up. And I say, I can get beyond that.